Hello. So I built this whole town, which I'm about to show you, for a tutorial video, which people have asked me for. But there was a bit of an issue in that it took me probably 8 or 9 hours to build, and it was just way too much recording to go through and edit. It was just insane, and I couldn't upload an 8 hour video. So what I'm going to do instead is, it's not completely 100% finished, but it's getting there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around the town and I will show you what I've done whilst explaining what I've done and the reasons why I've done it, which hopefully will help people. I will make a proper tutorial, but I'm just going to have to think of something smaller that I can do first for that. So this is my town. I've made a walkway here, and I've used upside down stairs for a pavement. I did have a curb as well, but I removed the curb because I was running out of item slots. These Merkmeyer walls are really good upside down because they give you a straight edge, and you can also use them as windows and doors because of this little edge, and it also gives a nice little sort of triangular effect, which works well for a medieval build. Here I've made a bunch of little houses. So this one's made purely out of the Breton merchant stores, which have been turned around. I've just placed one on top of the other. And here we've made one with Merkmeyer walls, with the Breton thingies at the top, just because I wanted them all to be a bit different but kind of merged together. I've also used an orc tent at the top to create a sort of balcony with the Merkmeyer ladders as well, and I've also used an upside down orc platform and sunk it under the ground just to make these pillars extend down to the ground. Here you will notice that my pavement is not straight. I've tilted it slightly, and the reason I've done that is because I feel like it's more realistic. When you go into a town, especially an old town, you don't ever see just a flat straight ground, so that's why I never make a flat straight ground. My grounds are never, you'll never find any of my town builds or anything. Occasionally I'll have a little area that's flat, but I'll never have just a straight flat road. So yeah, you can see this is tilted upwards slightly, and when it comes round to this corner here, it's tilted slightly sideways. So we've got some more buildings here, a few little bits in the street. Then on the other side, just go down here to show you, this is like the tower where you would essentially enter and be able to go up onto the walkway, which I'd have liked to have done, but item limit restrictions, unfortunately. On the pavement here, I've made it slightly bigger than the pavement on the other side so that we could fit this stairway in. This is like the housing side on that side, and this is like a market area. So I've just done the same thing but made lower buildings that just meet the roof of the floor above. And we've used lots of tents and things sunken into the walls here, just to give it a sort of effect that, you know, this is a marketplace, this is where people go shopping. Here we have a big house, or maybe even a town hall of some sort. Again, I've used Merkmeyer walls. I've used the Breton merchant stalls. I've put them flush against the wall and then lifted them up to create a balcony. You'll find a few of these little areas in this town and in a lot of my other towns. It's an area you can't get to. Now I'm just going to show you inside here and explain a bit about this actually. So if we do this, so the reason I do this is because this area I've got here, it might look like out there like I've got a huge town, especially when I show you the rest of it, but it makes it feel bigger than it actually is when you've got areas like this. You can't access this, so all I've literally done is build a couple of very simple structures here. As you get close to them, you can see they're not even good ones. I haven't made much of an effort because you're only going to see them from very far away. Stairs help when you come to these sort of areas because it means that there's less you can see. And it also creates the illusion of more space. Like this stairway, you would expect it to be leading up to somewhere. And I think most importantly here is this light. I've put 2 orange ones and 1 blue one to create a more whitish light around that corner. Slightly warmer, that's why I've used 2 of the yellow. If I had only used 1 of the yellow, you can see it's very white that way. But if these 2 together create a white light, if it was just 1 of them, you can see it's blue or orange, but together they create a white light, which is probably a nice little tip if anybody wants a white light. That's a good way to get it. So I put that around one corner so that when you're back here and you look up here, you see there's lights coming from around the corner. So it looks like there's something going on around there. And you're not quite sure what it is, but that gives the illusion of a bigger town than it actually is. These are just like a godsend. I'm actually going to show you those more upstairs because I've done a lot more with them. Round here, sadly, I have got an alchemy and an enchanting shop that I wanted to build around here, but again, item limit restrictions meant that really these are very naff, couldn't do much with them, but you kind of get the idea that that's what they are. And as you can see, they're not placed the same, nothing's placed the same here, because I want it to feel natural. In old towns, some buildings were built before other buildings, they weren't all built in a straight line. So this one's back a little bit, this one's right on the roadside. You can see these ones, none of them are the same, none of them come out at the same angle, none of them are the same height, they're all very individual buildings. So there's another one of those areas I talked about. This one's not so much light, you can just see stairs going down. So up here we have a marketplace. Again, it's not as full as I would like it to have been. I would like this to have been a nice big busy full market, but item limit restrictions yet again meant I couldn't do that. Up here we have another fake area, making the town feel bigger than it is. Now this is what I'm talking about here. This isn't the best example because again, item slots. These blocks here, when you build a fake building, I say fake because when you're making a huge town, you can't make every single building enterable. You're going to have to fill up the space with fake buildings that you can't get into. And these are perfect. You just need one of those. It's a great height and size for a building. And then all you have to do is stick doors and windows. You can put nice little plants and buckets and things outside to make it feel more full. And that's really going to save you item slots when it comes to building fake buildings. Then we had a stairway here. We've got like, this is kind of where the beer's dropped off for the pub down here, which again, I didn't really get to do what I wanted to in here. It's a very bare little pub because of item limit restrictions again. But the point of this is just to give you a few tips really for town building, if that's what you're going to want to do and you are looking for some hints about that. So yeah, and as you can see down the alleyway from here as well, a few little buildings down there. Just makes the place feel much, much bigger. Again, with that, I did have a door and windows on this tower on the side, had to get rid of those, but they definitely made the place feel much, 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 much bigger. So yeah, that's about it really for the town building. That's my tips for that. So yeah, basically I'll just go over them again. So I would say don't build all of your floors flat. Make sure you put some angles in there if you want to make it feel more realistic. Don't put loads of these things. I know I just said that they're great, but if you just put a whole row of these next to each other with doors and windows, it's not going to look natural and realistic or as interesting. Have little bits jutting out and don't worry about things being straight. I mean, look, this is wonky, this is kind of an angle. It kind of makes it look more kind of realistic. Yeah, it's kind of sticking out, it kind of bulges at the top a little bit. As somebody who's lived in more than one medieval town in real life, I can assure you right this second that in a real medieval town you do not get straight walls. Everything's wonky. You don't really want everything to be 100% straight because that's not how it would realistically be. So yeah, that's my little town. This annoyed me. This was going to be my little house. I was going to build a little house in here. I didn't end up being able to do that because of item limits, so I literally just put a plank in the doorway to make a door. So yeah, I am going to make a proper tutorial video. I'll probably start doing that actually today. I've just got to think of an idea for something small that I can build rather than this huge town, which took me hours. But I hope that you enjoyed. I'll have a little walkthrough of the town in a second, just before I go, so that you can have a nice little look at it. I hope that you will have an absolutely brilliant day. Thank you so much for watching, and apologies again that I couldn't show exactly what I want to do with this. But it turned out quite well, and it's given me some ideas for future builds. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.